Hey y'all. Okay. We have a new day here today, Thursday. So hope you didn't get anything mixed up. I tried to let you guys know well ahead in advance. So we're gonna get started. Today's live is about the gift of rest and why ambitious women must prioritize and slowing down. So always excited to do these live streams because I am dedicated to your success. I am dedicated to the success of humanity and raising the consciousness of humanity. So these things are my jam. So I feel like this is so important to talk about because so many women in leadership, ambitious women, think that grinding and hustling will actually get them to success. And it won't at all. If anything, it will take more time in order for you to get to where you need to go, because as you're hustling and as you're grinding to get there, you are making the goal more important than, or you're putting your happiness on the goal. So we do things, we want to get things because we want to be more at peace, we want to be happy, we want to feel stable, we want to feel grounded. But that's not true, y'all. We're going to get into that in a little bit and why all of that, how all of that happens. But yes, I think that this is a benefit because the way that we are going about achieving the things that we want in life is backwards, and it's a distraction, and it's meant to be a distraction. And so, and then we don't find out until we get the thing that, oh, this is what I expected it to be, right? So we're about to change that. We're about to fix that, okay? So if you would like to be part of my email list, I put a little bit more of my personal story in there. I'm just a little bit more of myself to my email list. So if you would like to be a part of my email list, please put your email in the comment section below. And if you are a part of my email list, I did just do some cleaning up with my email list. Whoop whoop. I felt so good about that. And your emails may have been going to your spam. So check your spam, star the message, report it not spam. I'm not spam. And I don't spam people on my email list. I really don't like getting bombarded with emails. I'm like, I ain't gonna say like a neat freak, because I mean, that's different for everybody, but I am really big on like being organized and cleaning up stuff. So I don't like being bombarded with emails. I will not do that. But if you would like to be part of my email list, once again, put your email in the comment section below. All right, let's get started, y'all. So, yes, the gift of rest. Why ambitious women must prioritize slowing down. So, you have to know that rest is tied to your efficiency. You have to switch that in your mind. You will be able to perform better when you take the time to rest. You will be able to have a clearer mind when you take the time to rest. You will feel better about yourself and be able to hold space for others when you take the time to rest for yourself, and when you treat yourself or do to yourself those things first, then you'll be able to hold that space. And that completely changes your work culture, your work environment, how other people are performing. We are not robots, we are not AI. So we have to stop thinking that there is no limit or waiting too late to tend to ourselves, which is so easy because everybody is expecting a lot out of you. So, and it is a part of our conditioning. I will say that it is a part of our conditioning, and we were raised to burn ourselves out. We were raised to do that. Like, we talk about it, oh my God, I'm booked and busy. I don't have no time. We say it like it's a flex, and it's not a flex when it's coming at your health and wellness. And I've seen too many people, especially working at a yoga studio, that are extremely successful, but they end up injuring themselves. Or I remember there was an influencer a while ago. I don't know. I don't see her stuff anymore, but she ended up going to the ER. She talked about that, how she started her own business, and after that, she ended up going to the ER. I also knew somebody personally where she had a stroke shortly after starting her business. Like, you have to be able to know that it is okay and trust that it is okay to take the time out to take a nap or to turn your brain off or to spend time with family or your friends or to go on more vacations and take a nap. It ain't even really the vacations because you're already doing that, right? But it's more so those little parts in your life. Really, like taking a nap, binging your show, being on the couch, coming home from work and just laying on the couch. Just lay there. Take that time to pause in between whatever you need to do once you get home. So, and then a lot of the times I see what a lot of women in leadership is they don't turn their brain off. And they end up coming home and working at home. And so I will say it is very tempting, but your children, your spouse are missing you. Your family is missing you. Those things, memories, moments that you can't get back, work will be there tomorrow. Those moments that you can't get back, you will end up losing, not getting them back because you were too busy working. And we have to take more accountability for the role that we're playing in our inner world being unfulfilled. And a lot of times it's so easy to say, oh, my business, I'm steady putting out all these fires. My the organization I run is so busy. They're asking so much of me. It's up to you to say, to place those boundaries, and you have to trust that. Let me get into the stuff. Let me get into the nitty gritty. So I wanted to talk about what we'll explore, which is one of the things is the spiritual cost of nonstop busyness, and that is a delay on your path. You will definitely be delayed on your path. So we are all still moving, we're all ascending, right? But we're not all ascending at the same rate. So when you're steady being busy, you are not open to the guidance. You cannot receive the guidance because your mind is running on something else all the time. I remember that there is a time, I mean, sometimes we have this, right? Where you're going to sleep at night and your mind is like just running that you cannot go to sleep. Sleep is an example of surrendering. You cannot think yourself into sleep. You have to let go. You have to feel the sheets around you, get comfortable, relax, and then you just drift off and wake up, the next day, right? So it's the same thing. You will not be able to surrender and relax and drift off into anything if your mind is steady running, right? So you miss guidance, you lack clarity, you get things done, but there is no real depth to it. So there isn't any connection to it. You're missing the connecting part about it. So that is one thing where I'm gonna push the envelope with this a little bit, because a lot of women in leadership and people in leadership in general, they feel like in order to be a great leader, you have to turn off your emotions to things. I truly feel like in order to be a great leader is to tap more into your emotions. I think great leaders are empathetic. And I know I keep talking about this, right? But I feel like great leaders are able to connect to the people that they are leading. And there are too many women who are not tapped into their emotions, and not to the point where you're crying all the time, but you can feel, you can understand, you can put yourself in another person's shoes without them running all over you and becoming a doormat. That exists. That is the balance. It's not this whole passive person, but it's not an aggressive person either. It's not a passive leader or an aggressive leader. You are an assertive leader. And that takes being able to know how to be efficient, have that which you have, but also putting more gentleness, softness, empathy into your leadership patterns and style and habits and communication. That is what is going to take you to that next level. So, and once again, it's so easy, especially when there are so many things that we're just doing. We don't have time to kind of like just like be a little warm. We feel like we don't have time to be warm, but you do. And it sounds counterintuitive, like, okay, slowing down, being warm will get me further. Like, no, like, no. And that's because slowing down and being warm will allow the universe or God to step in. God can't step in if you are doing everything and you're controlling every bit of the process. So it will be delayed on your path. There will be delay on your path. And that's because, like I was saying before, you don't have the space for guidance, for divine guidance to come in. So that's where things can become innovative. That is where things can stay fresh, and you can be even more creative because you are receiving guidance beyond you, beyond everyone else, beyond this outside of this world. And you're bringing in something that people haven't even experienced before, right? That is what being a leader is all about. Part of it is being able to bring things that only you can bring, right? That sets you apart. But you have to be open to divine guidance to be able to do that. You have to, it will also be delay on your path because you are clear to an extent, right? You have discernment to an extent, right? But you second guess yourself still. You still have too much doubt. You still have too much guilt, whether you want to admit it to yourself or not. You can just silently like admit it to yourself. I've been there. I know what it's like. So guilt and doubt and second guessing yourself is delaying you from accepting your true self. Your true self does not operate in doubt and anxiety or self-consciousness, right? So yeah, your true self doesn't operate in that. So even though on the outside you're looking like, okay, I got it all together, on the inside you're scrambling and you're hustling and you're grinding, and it takes a lot of long nights, early mornings, late nights, long days, early mornings. And trust me that when you actually take that time to come home, take a break, take your lunch, enjoy your lunch, completely tap out from the work, spend time with your family. There is so much inspiration in the things around you. But because you are thinking only from what you know, you can only think about something from past experiences. You can't think about something or come up with something brand new. If you did, that's divine guidance, and that's not a bad thing. We are we are creatures of habits, and like past, referring to the past to do things. So it's not a bad thing. But if you turn your brain off from only coming up with answers and solutions only from what you know in your past or the knowledge that you have, you miss all the beauty and the opportunities right around you. That person that is just walking that you see, okay, I need to go up to, or you're at a family event and you see a relation in how someone is dancing or whatever. I could give an example, at least for my own, instead of trying to think about your stuff. So many times I have been out with a friend and I hear a song and I'll put it on my yoga playlist. I used to do that all the time. I always put things on my yoga playlist from just out in the world, just kicking it. But let's say I was always thinking about what we need to do for Self-Care Sunday, the leads, or the sale that I didn't close or whatever, the one person that came in, it was difficult this morning. If I am all the conversation that I have to have with my coworkers and or my employees about not being rude to each other, right? If I'm always thinking about that, in a way it's coming from a good intention because it's coming from a place of wanting to be proactive, right? But when you are always doing that, I would have missed that song. I would have missed that conversation with my friend. And when she's talking about something that she got going on, I would have missed that. Oh, I can actually use that same thing. When I'm spending time with family and I'm not able to connect with my family because I'm too busy thinking about work, or I'm not able to connect to my partner because I'm too busy thinking about work, then when I'm not developing the habit to actually connect, right? So then when I get to work, I'm not connecting, and my employees feel that. The environment is going to reflect that. So you have to do these things. What else? I guess so many different examples. So it could be something like, okay, I'm gonna binge this show. Another thing, I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna binge this show, right? And something that's going on, a conflict that's going on in the show, and how they show that they resolved it is something that I can now do with my employees. So there is inspiration all around you, and you have to trust that. Once you start to trust that, then you will be tapped into the natural flow of life and the guidance that is always being given to you. But because you're too busy in your head and not in the moment, you miss that all the time. And that just delays you along your path. It makes your path seem harder than it needs to be. The path is already challenging, okay? We don't need to make it more challenging for ourselves. Okay, I keep talking about this forever. So, and that is what the biggest challenge is for ambitious women, is not trusting. You don't trust slowing down. You don't trust resting, because why? You think people are gonna think that you're weak or something. Or when you start to even do it, people will reflect that because it's coming from your subconscious, and you need to heal that part. So it's gonna reflect itself out of you so you can see it, and then so you can do your work with it. That's how this is working. So yes, your employees will start to say certain things. Your colleague will start to say certain things. But it is you to stand in that truth, because like I said before, this is a thing within society. People want certain things but don't know how to get there. They don't know the path in getting there. And then they think they know how to get there or what it should look like, but they don't. How can you know what something looks like or what the path is to something you've never experienced before, right? But they think they do. This is the insanity that we all have about certain things. And so they think they do. So then they judge it, the reality of the path, which is you living it, right? They're judging the reality of the path. So now you're feeling that. You're feeling self conscious about, like, dang, I knew I should have just, you know, took my emotions out of it. Now they're going to think I'm weak because I went and gave Evie some grace or something. Those things are going to come up. You're going to feel self conscious about it, unless you have someone like me, a coach, who is on your side. I won't be launching until October, y'all. So it's coming up soon, but just keep rocking with me. So anyways, unless you have someone in your corner that is like affirming you and on your side and processing through these things with you, which is so important, because a lot of times when we're going on this path, we're doing things, we're still pioneering in this space, right? There's not a lot of people doing these things, but the work is so phenomenal. I've seen it within my own life, being a director of a yoga studio, leading yoga classes, co-leading teacher trainings. Like, when you are more understanding of other people, when you see the humanity in other people, you are able to evolve along your path so exponentially and help other people evolve along their path exponentially. But there's still few and far in between people who are doing that, especially women in leadership positions, because it's like, we gotta, women are known as soft and weak in society, right? We're not. We know we're not, right? But so there's this subconscious, like, play on it involuntarily. You're volunteering, but it feels involuntary, like play on you proving yourself. So of course you don't want to be the angry black woman, or you don't want to be the emotional girl, or, oh, you must be PMSing. You, of course you don't want to be that. So you want to make it seem like you got it all together. But there is so much power and vulnerability. Not to the point where you're losing yourself, because I talk about all the time about emotional regulation and how important that is. But start with those soft, small moments where you can be soft. When you are lowering your tone, when you are talking to, or softening your tone when you are hearing from your employee about what the other employee is doing. When you are in the middle of handling a conflict and you are like, well, wait, let the other person speak. Let's see what they gotta say. But then there are times when someone shows up late and you do have to write them up. Okay, this is a write up. And then they get all so upset, right? That's not for you to be like, well, I mean, what you want me to do? Like, it's tempting to do that, right? But the real power is just continuing to be a space holder. You just have to stay grounded in yourself. There's this analogy that you don't have to tell another person that their cup of water is dirty. Just sit your clean cup of water next to theirs. That's it. So you don't have to either meet them where they're at because they're frustrated that they got rolled up because they keep showing up late. You also don't have to go and be like, well, it's okay, yada yada, it is, well, maybe I could take it away. You can still be like, look, Nadria, I have to write you up. You keep showing up late. I'm trying to work with you. I told you the other day, yada yada yada. And then today you showed up late. Like, I can't not write you up. Like, that's how I used to come to my employees. And even though they were like still upset, people be upset, but they understand. They be like, they know it's them. And the tendency is to project it onto you to make you the bad person. But when you stay grounded, don't let their projection unsettle you. That's the emotional regulation part. Not something happens and your child is sick and and you're feeling winded or whatever and you're acting like it doesn't affect you. That affects you. Act like that affects you. That's your humanity stepping in. Your child is sick, you're feeling some type of way, you know, you're human kind of thing. But it's the moments where and that's the part about being vulnerable. That's the part about it being okay to show you your emotions. But it's when you kind of like a difficult customer comes in and you are matching them. No, stay in your groundedness. And then I've seen so many times where people turn around. Oh my God, there was this one lady that came into the yoga studio one time and she was like, there's questions that you have to ask people. And so she was like, she wanted to do yoga. And she was like, she was just jazzy that day. And I was like, okay, why would you, what interested you in doing yoga? She was like, just cause I want to. I was like, okay, well, have you done it before? No. Do I got to? Did I have to do it before? I was like, no, you didn't have to do it before. I just was asking so I can know how to, what class to book you into. And because I don't want to, book you into something that, So, and then I just went through the rest of whatever the questions. She kind of was still being a little jazzy, but I kept meeting her with that, like, no, you're good, girl. I didn't let where she was at affect me, right? So as we're going throughout the process, she ends up saying that her apartment burned down. Like the whole building was on fire or something like that. Maybe, this is a long time ago. Either way, the building caught on fire. And she had insurance and the insurance put her in a hotel, but now her insurance is running out and they can't cover the hotel, but the building isn't ready yet. And like something about the landlords aren't stepping in and doing anything about it, yada, yada, yada. So, rightfully so, she's going through a lot, right? And so many people are going through battles that you don't even know that they're fighting, especially when we are in the business industry and we're in leadership positions. We are the space holder for a lot of people, and I think we need to see that more often. And so when you aren't resting, when you aren't slowing down in your own life, you are not equipped to deal with everything that's about to come at you. And so that's why we must do this. You got to do it so that you can be prepared to take on all the stuff that's about to come at you during the day. Traffic, getting to work, going home, customers, employees, stakeholders. Like, something, you were supposed to close this contract and something happened, their building burnt down. And so you got to wait a little bit. We got to call our insurance to come in and refinish the wall. And so you're going to have to wait a little bit. You have to be able to handle those things when things are changing. And you can't be changing while things on the outside are changing with you. So that is where the emotional regulation comes in at. And that is why it's so hard for us to trust, because when these things are happening in our business and our organization, we ramp it up. Like we feel like, okay, now is even more on me now. And that's the time when you like, you know what? I'm gonna take a break. You know what? I'm gonna go on lunch. Okay? I'm gonna take a nap. That is how you do that. You don't then go harder. It's tempting to go harder because it's like now there's less time to get the already overwhelming work done, right? But when you take that rest, the time will present itself. It's magnificent. It takes so much trust. And start off with the small things. Start off with take a nap. Take your lunch. Something that's needed, right? Take your lunch. And when you come back, you just never know who may walk through the door, who may call your phone, who may send an email, you know? And a lot of times things end up working itself out, right? And you've like stressed yourself the whole way through. So, um, yeah, and so the next part was how to reclaim your time and energy. And that is to have a mind body connection, because your body will actually tell you when you need to rest. Your body will actually tell you when you are really anxious. And the more you get into having that mind body connection and enjoying that, embracing that, accepting that, that being your new norm, you will feel even more when you are not at that baseline, when you are not at that homeostasis. You will feel that, and it will be more bothersome than it is now. So many women are in leadership, are so used to doing things, going from one task to the next, right? You don't have time to rest. You don't have time to, not rest. You don't have time to feel your body. You're too busy like going from one task. You don't even notice that you're clenching your jaw. You don't even notice that your shoulders are hurting. You don't even notice that you are shrugging. You don't even notice that you're slouching or whatever. You don't even notice that your knee hurts. You don't notice that. And if you do, you're like, I still gotta get this stuff done. Still gotta get this stuff done. And you keep just missing beauty. You keep missing what is going to make your life really rich, not the money. That's why you feel like something is missing, because those rich moments are in the everyday things that you keep missing because you're so focused on the task at hand all the time. All the time. So, how to reclaim your time and energy is to have a mind-body connection, so that you are listening to your body. You're listening to your mind. You're listening to the guidance. You're listening to your body when it's telling you to slow down. That is why when you end up hurting yourself and now you gotta be on the couch for 3 months. Now you're in recovery. You need to go get a knee replacement, or you need to have some kind of procedure done, right? And now you got to slow down. That happened to me before too. Like, always working or whatever, and I end up like pulling the muscle in my shoulder, and you don't even realize how hard you're working, especially if it's something that you love to do, or it's requirement in your job. You don't even notice it. It's a norm to be stressed. It's a norm to be tense. It's a norm to have shallow breathing. That we don't even notice that it's a problem. So, or it's as much of a problem as it really is. We don't think it's as much of a problem as it really is until the symptom presents itself and is too far gone for us to fix it on our own. Now we gotta go get the procedure. Had a stroke kind of thing. I'm pretty sure before that lady had to go to the ER, or the woman that I know that had a stroke, there were signs that she was pushing past her boundaries and she was taking on more on her plate than she could manage. I'm confident in that because our body is always sending us signals. But when we're out of touch and out of tune with our body, then we miss that. Go on walks. Go to a yoga class. Do those things. Go get massages regularly. Well, not really massages, because sometimes you can fall asleep. But do something where you are steady making that connection with your mind and body. That's why I say yoga. If something else costs you, do that. But I can only teach you what I know. So, yeah, you're slowly killing yourself if you're not doing this. Slowly killing yourself. And the cost of this is that you won't get the clarity that you seek. You know, you may feel like what you keep bringing to the table is a little bit redundant. You know, you don't really feel any purpose because you're not tapped into your purpose. Your purpose is to help uplift the consciousness of the humanity. The way I express my purpose is through this, my program. You express your purpose through being a leader at your organization, or doing your own business work. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You can still do God's work and be a doctor, be a lawyer, run an online business, run a e-commerce business, run a esthetician business, run a hair salon. You can still do God's work doing that. You don't have to do this. Just make sure that when you're done at work, you go take a break. Go home, lay on your couch, binge some shows. Go out with your friends regularly. Take more naps. I think we need more rest, especially as women in leadership, than we give ourselves. When you're on your cycle, slow down. That is just my go-to. I'm on my cycle. I'm taking it easy. I'm taking more naps for sure. With confidence, no guilt. Start there. There's so many places where you can start. And yeah, just like I was saying before, you won't feel this flow in life. And so that is this benefit, When you rest, when you slow down, you are tapped into the flow. When you got into this leadership position, you did not get into this to burn yourself out. You did not. I can guarantee that, right? You got into it to help people, to evolve along your own path, to expand yourself, and to have more freedom. But then you find yourself still leading the same life you did previously, because it wasn't about getting that new position or starting your own business. It's about you honoring your bandwidth, because you can still be a business owner and work for yourself and still be overwhelmed or even more overwhelmed, or have even less freedom, because it's you who is putting things all on your plate. It was never the other person. Now you can actually say, no, I can't do that. I need to rest, or I need to go, or I need to clock out. And you're still not doing it. So that just shows you can't be blaming other people. So yeah, say no more often. When opportunities present itself, because you're so awesome, right? Opportunities come a lot. You have to be able to be like, I cannot take this on. I already meet my max. I already got what's on my plate that I can eat. I can get full. I'm satisfied off of this. If I take too much on, I'll be stuffed, and it'll hurt, even though it tastes good in the moment, right? So you are only one person. Just be honest about your bandwidth. And yeah, that's our convo for today, our topic to today. So the gift of rest, why ambitious women must prioritize slowing down. Yes, why you must prioritize slow down. So if you would like more of this content, or more of myself, you would like to engage with me a little bit more on a more frequent basis, or receive a little bit more in-depth content from me, then comment your email below, and I'll add you to my email list. So hope you enjoyed this. If you're in the replay, make your comments or whatever, because I'll be in the comment section. And yes, peace out, queen. Take some of this stuff. Let me know what was your biggest takeaway from this live. I think this one was a good one. Definitely. All of them are good, but I think this one was really good. I hope that you can take some time for yourself. Like, and this is why it is up to you ultimately. You can listen to these things, you can read all the books, but if you are not taking the action from there, you take action. You do this. This is why you're where you are now, as far as like being that girl. But you have to take more action for your own self. You have to take more action in slowing down and trust that you will get to where you need to go. Sometimes even faster, sometimes slower. It's not even about the pace. If you're going to get to where you need to go, why does it matter how quickly or slowly you're moving towards it? Enjoy the journey. Sometimes when things happen too quick, we look back and like, dang, I wish I would have cherished that some more. Then when things are going slowly, it's like, I wish this would happen a little bit faster. So like, it's all about your perspective on it. If you get someone quicker, yes. If you get someone slower, you got time to enjoy the moment. But it's not about that. It's about working smarter, not harder. That's what it's about. Whether how quickly or slowly you get there, less is required of you. Don't we all want that? Then you have to release the control. So I'm gonna end it there. I can keep going on and on. I'm gonna end it there. Next week's live is going to be on Wednesday. I don't see any other days for now, but it's gonna be on Wednesday. And I'll see you next week. I'll be chatting with you in the comment section below later on. Peace.